Hello and welcome to the classic Hollywood movie You Should Know. I'm your host, Nate Washburn. I'm an actor, writer, all-around old movie buff, and this is my YouTube channel where I discuss and review movies from Hollywood's golden age. Now this week the movie's from 1934. It is Columbia Pictures' classic film, It Happened One Night, starring Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, directed by Frank Capra. Now It Happened One Night is a romantic comedy. Tells the story of Ellie Andrews, played by Claudette Colbert. She's an heiress. She escapes her family in Miami, has to travel to New York where her husband is waiting. Now, along the way, she meets Peter Warren, an out-of-work reporter, played by Clark Gable. They travel together. They fall in love. It's a very sweet story. Now, in 1933, when the movie was filmed, Columbia Pictures was a second-tier studio, derisively referred to as being on Poverty Row. The reason being they didn't have the money or the amenities or the stars of the MGMs, the Warner Brothers, the Paramounts. They were second level. They were known for making quick movies relatively cheap. Now, the one thing that Columbia Pictures had going for them was director Frank Capra. He joined the studio in 1927, and from 1927 to 1933, he directed 22 films for them. 22, that's an average of 3 a year. He'd go on to have a great career directing such classics as Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, It's a Wonderful Life. But in 1933, he's a young director. He gets this script from Robert Riskin. Riskin adapted a story called Night Bus from Cosmopolitan magazine. And Riskin creates these two characters, Peter and Ellie, who they don't like each other in the beginning, but they need each other. They're using each other along this journey. And it's the anticipation. As an audience member, you know they're meant to be together. Today's romantic comedies follow a pattern of, boy meets girl in a meet cute. They get together, they screw, they fight, they break up, they get back together at the end. It Happened One Night is different. It's all the anticipation. You're on the edge of your seat. You want to just shout at these two characters. You guys are perfect for each other. And the performances are top-notch as well. Now, Clark Gable was nicknamed the King of Hollywood. He was one of the biggest stars of the 1930s. He was under contract at MGM. And the reason he's making a movie at Columbia Pictures is Louis B. Mayer, his boss, got pissed at him. Gable had an affair with his co-star Joan Crawford. Mayer found out, and as punishment, Mayer lent Gable to Columbia Pictures for It Happened One Night. Now, Claudette Colbert is there. She's a big star as well. She'd starred in Cecil B. DeMille's epic The Sign of the Cross. The reason she's at Columbia, Capra showed her the script, offered her the role. She came back with, "You'll have to double my salary," thinking that he'd say no. He said yes. So he got Gable, he got Colbert. It was a great script, and he knew what he was doing. Now, when It Happened One Night came out in February of 1934, it was a sensation. It was produced for $325,000 and grossed over $2.5 million for Columbia Pictures. It single-handedly turned Columbia Pictures into an A-level studio. They were now the studio that brought you It Happened One Night. They were now the home of director Frank Capra. Now, when the Academy Award nominations came out in 1935, It Happened One Night was nominated for 5 awards. Best Picture, Best Director for Frank Capra, Best Actor for Clark Gable, Best Actress for Claudette Colbert, and Best Adapted Screenplay for Robert Riskin. It won all 5. It swept the Big 5, that's known as the Grand Slam of the Academy Awards. There's only 2 other movies that have done that. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and The Silence of the Lambs. One little piece of trivia for you, the hitchhiking scene, the really funny hitchhiking scene, Clark Gable is leaning against a fence, eating carrots, telling Colbert's character his theories on hitchhiking. He's the greatest hitchhiker. He's going to write a book. Friz Freleng at Warner Brothers, animator and director, has said that this scene in particular was one of the major inspirations for the personality of Bugs Bunny. The way he's going to stand, the way he's going to talk, the way he's going to chew the carrots, all of that stuff is based on this scene. So we have It Happen One Night to thank, in part, for the character of Bugs Bunny. So next time you're looking for a classic comedy, next time you're looking for a movie for a date night, check out It Happened One Night. It is a classic Hollywood movie you should know. I'm Nate Washburn. Keep watching.